Assalamu alaikum, Mufti.
Well, Samgato.
It seems like it's only Abdullah, me, and Mufti Saheb.
Okay, should we just start? Bismillah. Anybody joins in, they can join in.
Gigi, Mufti, and I'm recording it anyway, this session.
Okay, so how well does my screen show up on your guys'
It's pretty good.
screen? Pretty good? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let's continue, inshallah, about the ziyarat of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Madina Munawarrah. So we'll start off here, which we started on the previous Umrah seminar, about the layout of the actual qabr of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abu Bakr Siddiq, and Hazrat Umar radhiyallahu anhuma. So over there on the picture screen, I guess if you guys can see it, I'll try to zoom in. So first and foremost, if you follow the cursor over here, these three viewing holes actually represent what we see down here. This is going to be, this is kind of like a peephole that's in line with the Mubarak head of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The second one is going to be a peephole that's going to be somewhat in line. It signifies being in line with the head of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. And this third one is in line with the Mubarak Blessed head of Hazrat Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. So this is approximately like the distance between the qubur that are laid out beyond the jali, beyond the gate. Thing is that once you have a peephole behind here, it's not like you're going to see behind here three qubur or three graves. You're not going to see that. Beyond the jali, actually, really, there's still yet another barrier. If you see where my cursor is here, this particular barrier that you see, it's shaped kind of in a very strange, peculiar shape. There's actually like a concrete wall or barrier. So even when the khadim of the Haramain comes in, they're going to come into this particular area here. They're going to be having access over here. They're not going to have access beyond that. And the reason for that is that somebody actually wanted to come in before historically and to try to remove the blessed body of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The particular Khalifa was informed by way of a dream, and over there they made a wall. This particular wall here, it's mentioned, is made by Hazrat Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, but even beyond that, underneath, there was a particular, like a blade that was set even way under below ground level. So nobody has access to there. Even the khadims that come in, they're going to have access to this particular area here. So this wall here signifies the particular jali. What does that really have to do with us? It's basically for those who have a lot of ishq and a lot of shawq, who want to know approximately where, like Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would be, to get a rough idea of how many sufuf back. If you're like in the masjid is going to be here. This is going to be the area here where people walk by. If you can see the cursor, when you come to give your salams, you're going to come in. Babu salam is going to be on this side. You're going to be walking, and the Rawdatan min Riyad al-Jannah is around this area here where my cursor is. And these three little back things that you see here are actually the ustuwana. You're going to see later on talk about the different pillars. So if you keep in mind about the three different pillars that are going to be here, we're going to mention these three significant pillars that are here: Ustuwana Wafud, Ustuwana Hirs, and Ustuwana Abi Lubaba, Ustuwana Al-Hanana, Ustuwana Aisha. There's different pillars, and we're going to discuss these three significant pillars here. And you can get a rough idea approximately where Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's Mubarak blessed body would be in line. Why? There is one opening area over here where people can go and pray. They can go over here, they can sit. And sometimes some of our akabir, just to get the blessing, they want to come and sit by the feet side of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? Out of ghayat al-adab and ihtiram and respect, they feel that I'm not going to sit on the head side of Rasulullah, I want to sit by the feet side of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So if you get a rough idea of where this one particular ustuwana is, if you follow along in line parallel to that on this side, well then over there will be a good sitting area for you, and you can just see approximately how far back that will be. But that, inshallah, once we physically get there, we'll discuss that once we're really there. So again, these viewing holes, the first one that we showed you down there is going to be directly in line with the blessed Mubarak face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The next one that's down here, if you kind of bring it down, it's going to be in line with that of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq anhu, and the third one is going to be in line with that of Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu. So that's how they laid it out, and this is what this particular drawing is. Behind this here, this is where the house of Hazrat Fatima radiallahu anha, where it used to be. This hujra is actually the hujra in the house of Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, where it used to be, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his demise, he had passed away there, so he was buried there. But directly behind that is that of Hazrat Fatima radiallahu anha. So as we go down here, this is the view that we're going to have. When we're going to be standing, we're going to have somewhat of this particular view. So you try to line up in line somewhere approximately here. If you go down even lower, like I was giving the dars earlier today in Nurul Ida, more even further down, closer to the Babul Baqi, or the door of Baqi, you can still do that. You're going to be more towards the foot side of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it's still valid. Your salam will be still valid from over there as well. So coming down here, all of the adabs and the etiquettes that we discussed earlier in Nur Rida, you just kind of keep that in mind. And we're just going to talk about some excess things now. So here, if you see on the screen, those of you who have the screen, this is just a much broader map, a much bigger map of the masjid as it stands or as it stood back before. So this particular one is like of the earlier size of the masjid, and over here is the exact same what we call Muwajaha Sharifa, the place where you go to send your salams and you're going to be in line. Muwajaha means to be face to face. So here, this is the Mubarak Roda of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he's buried, and this doorway, this entrance right here is going to be your Babu Salam, the door where you come to give salam. So as you come in, whether you're coming in from outside or whether you're going to come in from some other part of the masjid, yani the easiest thing is to come inside through Babu Salam. And these sufuf are going to be like pretty much open for you. So you're going to kind of walk in through here, right? You're going to walk in through that particular door. And as you're walking through this particular door, the Rawda min Riyad al-Jannah is in this particular area right over here. This is the Mimbar of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we're talking about here. There's Ustawana Hanana that's just going to be right over here. This is the Muazzin's like Azan station that you see boxed off. And this whole area is going to be your Rawdatun min Riyad al-Jannah. It's going to have the green carpets. You can, if you can, try to get in there to pray some 2 rakat nafil in there. And you're going to see later on, inshallah, I'm going to show you different pillars to try to see if you can pray salawat by those different pillars. That I'll discuss later as we get into. But these are those 3 pillars that I was talking about earlier. There's going to be 3 pillars lined up over here. And what we're trying to do is that if you want to signify the blessed approximate location of the body of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we're going to try to keep an eye out for this particular pillar over here. And then in this corner over here, there's an actual prayer area. There's maybe enough people for like maybe 120 or so people can fit in this particular area. They open that up. Sometimes you can go and you pray your salawat there. You can make your zikr there. You can make your azkar there. And like I mentioned previously, normally for Muwajaha, for your salam, you're going to be approximately here to try to line up directly with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But this is high property area, meaning a lot of people are going to be standing here, right? So normally, like in Nurul Ida, we discussed, from the Jali, you try to be about 6 feet, which is going to be about approximately 4 zira from here. But like I mentioned, the shurtis are going to be here. They're not going to give you peace of mind. They're not going to allow you to say salam for any good duration to where you feel like you got a good salam. So like I was mentioning earlier, you just come back right up against the wall. And over here, there's going to be layers of people in front of you. So normally the shurti, the police officer, the security guard, he's trying to keep the traffic moving this way. Move, chalo bhai, move over there. So if you get back here, there's too many layers of people already for them to bother you, so you can get a roughly good salam over there. So this is going to be in line with the Mubarak face of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is also a good area. But like I was mentioning in class, like Mufti Shafi Saheb, rahimahullah, when he had went to give salam, because he was overcome with a feeling of tawazu and humility, like I'm worthless, how can I present myself before Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? He had those feelings. He said, what jurrat do I have to be face to face here? So he would stand over here, and this is what I was telling you before, this corner right here. This is called Babul Baqi, right? Babul Baqi, because Jannatul Baqi is to this side, it's on this side. So he would be basically standing right here on the verge of exiting the masjid, or right over here, and saying salam in this direction. So here, yani, it's still within the realm of permissibility to say salam from over there. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam can still obviously have access to seeing all of the people that are there. So Mufti Shafi Sahib, he went further in this locale, and he would present his salam from over here. And then he would turn a little bit and say salam to Hazrat Abu Bakr from here, and turn, and Hazrat Umar radhiyallahu anhu. You can do all those three from here. If somebody so chooses to say salam from there, you can do that as well. Depending on your level of sincerity and ikhlas and so forth. One other thing I wanted to discuss over here is that behind this, right, you're going to see a fence. This area is fenced off with a green fence, green with gold writing, right? From there, if you come directly here, you're going to see something which they have now, which is like the raised platform, which is the veranda. So people misassume that this particular veranda is the veranda, which is the exact veranda of the Ashab Sufa, right? But in reality, like after doing this particular research, they're saying that no, the actual place where Ashab Sufa were is here. You can see this white little thing. It says Sufa before 7th here Hijri. So Ashab Sufa were actually placed here. Now, why they mention that is that the masjid at the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wasn't all the way extended out here. This was the house of Aisha radhiallahu anha. So the house of Aisha radhiallahu anha was outside of the masjid. To have the veranda be here, that wasn't where the location was. The location was here because the masjid parameters were here. Right? And Ashab Sufa were here within the boundaries of the masjid, but towards the back of the masjid. Because of the masjid expansion, in the year 7th year Hijri, then Ashab Sufa were pushed more to the back, and that's where you see the Sufa after 7 AH. But the parameters of the masjid were still in this particular boundary. Later on, the boundaries moved more towards, this is going to be your eastern direction. It's going to be your eastern direction because Qibla is to the south. So this is, although it's to the left, normally the left will be the west, but that's only if you're facing north. But Qibla is to the south. So this particular Qibla you see here is facing to the south, which means that this is to the west, and this part is to the east over here. So anyway, this diagram marks the location towards the front of the present Masjid and the platform that housed Ashab Sufa. The platform was originally on the north wall of the masjid, which would be back here. This is the north wall of the masjid, right? And that's back in 7th year Hijri. And then when the masjid expanded more further back, it moved more towards the north. So Ashab Sufa were moved further back. Here, if you can follow along with me, there currently exists a raised platform behind the platform where the Prophet ﷺ performed tahajjud. It is on the right of those entering Baba Jibreel. This platform is commonly mistaken to be the platform Ashab Sufa, but it was actually built by the Turks later on for the service and custodial personnel of the masjid. This was for the workers, the cleaning crew. That particular platform was for them. They would hang out over there. This would be their area where they would kind of chill out. That is not the area of the Ashab Sufa of the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that's what we're talking about. And you'll see it when we get there. This little thing over here, this little diagram that you see right over here, it kind of looks like a mihrab. So this is the place where like Rasulullah would pray his tahajjud, right? And I'm going to show you pictures, and inshallah, once we get to the masjid, I'm going to show you where that is because it's kind of covered up by a Quran bookcase now. And I'm going to show you the spots where like Rasulullah would pray his tahajjud. So keep in mind, like, it's going to be in this general area. Inshallah, I'm going to try to show you some of those pictures as we move along.
So,
So this is, yeah, go ahead.
question. That Ashab Sufa thing.
Yep.
I've also heard that the way Mufti has it, like something like that, but a little bit differently, like more like where the raised area is, like there, and then the more like on the back, like basically same tertib in a way, but more like it was there because it was like the back of the masjid before, and Qibla was on the opposite direction. And then when the Qibla changed, it changed. It came on like basically where Mufsab has it after 7 Hijri, just like it came on this side because of the Qibla. That's not the case, Mufsab?
If Qibla, if we're talking about change of Qibla, so it would be facing this way, right?
Yeah, so
Which
like
means,
basically it was behind the masjid on both times. When Qibla changed, then Ashabu Sufa's location also changed.
yeah, that doesn't seem to fit too well because if what we're talking about is that Turkish area that's there now,
Gigi.
that seems to be in out of the masjid bounds.
I
Like they'll be outside the masjid. So because that's too far left. Because this would be all of this here. This is the house of Aisha radiallahu anha, then the house of Fatima radiallahu anha, and kind of going out. The masjid boundary that's outside the masjid. So they wouldn't be the outside. So they have to be all on the western part of this particular line that I'm making now.
Gigi.
So this particular platform would be outside of the masjid, which doesn't seem, which is what they're arguing. That doesn't make sense because that would be inside. So it has to be on this.
Go to one to you. Mufsab, we can't hear Mufsab. Or at least I can't hear Mufsab.
Months, 17 months after Hijrah. So that's like very, 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 very particular, like earlier on. If it was, if we're talking about the masjid at that particular time, based on the drawing that we have here and the particular size of it, Wallahu alam, if the Qibla at that particular time is facing the opposite direction, it would be facing this direction here. So it's either north or then south. Like it wouldn't be east or west in any way. So the Ashab Sufa still have to be within the western, like this direction here, facing the west. And again, the west would be more to your right side if you're facing south, but it would be in this wall. So that's still in that particular line that we're talking about here. It wouldn't be beyond the outlines on the outskirts anywhere here because like houses and things like that would be here. Kharij al-Masjid, outside the masjid. But inshallah here, let's see this particular map that we have here also, it's a little bit more zoomed in. And again, it's kind of just somewhat of the outline of the same. Over here, if you see, these are the three kind of like viewing holes that we see up here. His drawing isn't so good because it's a bit off here and there, but I don't think he's trying to be too accurate to scale. But one of the things that they do here is that they do put the pillars that we're talking about, the ustuwana. So I'm going to go in this. The reason for this particular picture is to show you the different ustuwana and their names. So this is the mimbar over here. This is the mimbar that we're talking about. Now to the left of the mimbar, yani because the hadith mentions that we said earlier, bayna mimbari, between my mimbar and between my house, and here this is where Hazrat Aisha's house was, is a garden, rawdatan min riyad al-jannah, and that's what this green signifies, right? So this is where you're looking at over here. He's kind of colored it in green. This is the rawda. They're calling it the rawda. Rawda min riyad al-jannah. So over there, you're going to see the green and cream colored carpets, and you try to kind of get in there to try to pray some nawafil. But even once you get inside here, yani, there's different things to look for. The main columns that they have over here, this is Ustuwana Aisha. This one that I'm pointing at right here, the further one to the right. So keep that in mind because later on I have the write-up. Ustuwana Aisha, yani, why is it called Ustuwana Aisha? Because she is the one who narrates the hadith about it. That Hazrat Urwa bin Zubayr and others, they used to ask, yani, because there's a hadith that also mentioned that there's one particular spot in the masjid. If the people knew the value of that spot, then they would cast lots. Qur'a, which means to cast lots. That who has a chance, like kind of a lottery. So this is also called Ustawani Qur'a. It's also called Ustawani al-Muhajirun. It's called Ustawani Aisha. It's got different names. But this is that place. If people knew the value of this particular place in the sight of Allah, yani, they would take turns and cast lots that it's my turn to pray now, it's my turn to pray now, it's my turn to pray now. So if you can find this pillar, if you do get inside Rawdat min Riyadh al-Jannah, try to pray by this pillar. Like you use this as your sutra and you pray right here. If Allah gives you the tawfiq without bothering anybody, without harming anybody, try to pray here. Earlier from the Nurul Ida lesson, we're talking about Ustuwana Abi Lubaba. It's also called Ustuwana Toba. So this is this one right here. It's right after this pillar. So this is, they call it the column of Toba. So that's what Musannif of Nurullah is saying. If you get a chance, if you can't pray here or something and you only get a spot here, so go pray over here. Yani the Abu Lubaba's Toba was accepted there by Allah, so we take tabarruk that inshallah I'm going to make Toba over here also, that Ya Allah, I am as sinful, if not more sinful. You accepted his Toba, so Allah accept my Toba. This column right here is the column Ustuwana, this is we call it the Sarir, Ustuwana Sarir, which means the bedding, or Ustuwana I'tikaf, and so forth. So this particular Ustuwana, all of these line up with the blessed Mubarak, blessed body of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you're walking along here and you get a rough idea of these Ustuwana, what stuff it is, and then you come over here, then you can find the feet side of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you want to sit over there, you can try to line it up with these three main pillars. Coming here later on, we're going to discuss about this. This is Ustuwana al-Hirs, like the guard. When Rasulullah would have a guard, a bodyguard, he would be on guard at this particular post over here, right? And if you remember the call, or if you haven't done them yet, you'll do the ahadith where when Rasulullah would sit for i'tikaf, sometimes he would come, yani, and lean through the doorway into the house of Aisha anha, and she would comb the hair of Rasulullah. So the blessed body of Rasulullah would be in the masjid, but the head of Rasulullah would be like reclining back on Aisha anha, and she would be outside of the masjid in her own home, but it's like one doorway of a difference. Think about it like in our madrasa. Think where the musalla is, where we pray, and then think of that one classroom door. To where the classroom door is like the house of Aisha anha, and 1 footstep away is pretty much the masjid. It will be something like that. And finally here, this particular pillar that I'm pointing at right here is Ustuwana al-Wufud, Waf, delegation. So the different delegations that would come, they would come and they would take rest and so forth at this particular pillar, their area. So coming back again, this is the door of Fatima radhiyallahu anha. Towards the end, you're going to see there's a small little doorway in the Jali. That would have been the door of Fatima radhiyallahu anha, and this was the house of Fatima radhiyallahu anha right over here. So where, like Rasulullah would pray the tahajjud, is right here, the door of tahajjud. You're going to see right now over here, it's blocked off with like a Quran shelf, but I'm going to try to pinpoint that out to you. Also, if you can pray tahajjud here, pray your tahajjud here, because that's where Rasulullah would pray his tahajjud. You do have access to it even now. I'm going to show you that. This picture that you see on my screen now, these are those 3 pillars, right? This is Ustuwana as-Sarir, or Ustuwana i'tikaf. Right here, this particular pillar, you can't see it if I zoom in, but it's written right over here. It's a circle, and in there it's going to say Ustuwana Sarir. Sarir meaning the bed, the bedding, or Ustuwana i'tikaf. So when someone would make i'tikaf in this particular area, This is the Ustawana al-Hirs, or the pillar of safeguarding. And this is the Ustawana Wufud. Barely, you can kind of see it here if I try to zoom in. That it says Wufud, Waw, Fa, Waw, Dal, Wufud, Ustawana Wufud. And that is the pillar, Yani, oh, sorry, that is the pillar um, where the delegations would be. So it's very close in proximity. You can see how many marble tiles distance that there would be, Yani, in length. And again, in line with this pillar, if you go in this direction, so the blessed Mubarak body of Rasulullah ﷺ is going to be buried in line with that particular pillar on the opposite side. This side here, on this side, if you go to the right side of these pillars, you're going to find the Roda min Riyad al-Jannah. You do not have access to this area. The shurtis, security guards, all these guys are going to be here. This carpet that you can kind of barely see, this is the carpet that's rolled up, min Roda min Riyad al-Jannah. It's very packed. Try to get there if you can. Let's see, inshallah. So anyway, it's a write-up of some of the pillars. So the first pillar here we're talking about is the pillar of Hanana, which is that date palm trunk. So here, there was a date palm trunk which Rasulullah used to take rest on when he would give khutbah and deliver the sermons. When the mimbar was made for him, he left that particular date palm trunk and it began crying. We did the whole story. That particular ustuwana is very, very close to the mimbar area of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm going to show you there, inshallah, once we get there, because it's written on the pillar. This one, pillar of hirs, or the guard, yani where they would be. I already showed you that one. It's up there in line with the jali, the three that is up here. The pillar of hirs, which is yani this one right over here. So that's the one where the guard would be. There used to be one or more companions sitting guard when Rasulullah would be inside the house. The third one is the pillar of the delegations, wafud, or the envoys. That's even one pillar back. The outside, the delegates used to meet the Prophet ﷺ and convert to Islam. It would be in that general area. The pillar of sarir, or the pillar of i'tikaf, that one I've already discussed, is where the Prophet ﷺ used to sit in the i'tikaf, and that's the same one where we said is in line with the blessed body of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's some other pillars, the Ustuwana Jibril, the pillar of Jibril. So whenever Jibril alayhi salam used to come with some Quranic revelations, in the dressing and in the garb of Dihya Kalbi, he used to sit here in that particular area. So I'm going to show you that one too. That one is also demarcated and marked, that Ustuwana Jibril. I'm going to show you that one in a second, inshallah. Then you have Ustuwana, or the pillar of Aisha radiallahu anha. So the Prophet ﷺ told the companions that there's a spot in this masjid where to offer the prayer is going to be of the most excellence, yani. So the companions searched out and they used to seek out that spot. And they're like, I wonder where it is, I wonder where it is. After the demise of Rasulullah ﷺ, yani, Urwa bin Zubair, who came to Aisha radiallahu anha, that where is the spot? I want to know where is the spot. And so Aisha, she points out that this is the spot right here. That's why it's named after her, Ustuwana Aisha. Then the next one is the pillar of Abu Lubaba, or the pillar of Tawbah, which we already discussed about. I pointed it out to you earlier, where he tied himself. This was during the Battle of Tabuk. Earlier I said it must have been the one of the Ahzab, but it's like the Battle of Tabuk. He gave some khabar, some information. He felt guilty for what he had done. He tied himself up there, that I'm not going to open myself here unless the Prophet ﷺ doesn't himself come and open me up. So here it's mentioned the Prophet ﷺ waited for 7 days. Then when wahi came to him that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his tawbah, then Rasulullah went and untied him. So this particular drawing that I have before you here, this is going to point out all of these different pillars and ustuwana. So this one right here demarcates where the musalla of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. This is where the mimbar of of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is situated right here. This is the platform of azan, so you can get yourself a little bit of a bearing. So you have like a little bit of a mihrab thing here. You have the mimbar situated here, and you have the muazzin's stage for azan over here. Now the pillar of number one, this is the pillar of Hanana right here, the date palm trunk. You will find the pillar of Hanana right here, right next to the mihrab or the prayer musalla of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 2 here is the pillar of sarir or itikaf. We already pointed that one out. This one is going to be hirs. Number 5 is going to be hirs, which is also called Ustawana Ali, because Ali radiallahu anhu, who used to be the one that would be the bodyguard. Number 6 is going to be the wufud, the delegations. We've already pinpointed these out. Number 3 here is Ustawana Toba. I already showed you that one, Abu Lubaba. And number 4, Ustawana Aisha radiallahu anha. So you've already known this. So now you know that this is the pillar of Hanana. Then coming some stuff this way into your left, Ustawana Aisha. Then the Ustawana of Abu Lubaba. In line with that, Ustawana Sarir or Etika. Then behind that is that of Ustawana Ali or Ustawana al-Hirs, the bodyguards. And then behind that, wufud and delegations. So where's the pillar of Jibreel alayhi salam then? Pillar of Jibreel alayhi is here, like inside here. So Ustawana Jibreel, where Jibreel will come, is here. We don't have access really to this. We don't have access to this, but the Ustawana is inside there. That is one of the places where Jibreel alayhi salam would come. And number 8 here, this is the place of tahajjud right here. So the jali comes all the way back here. The mesh fence comes all the way over here. It comes over here. It comes over here, and then comes back down this way. And I'm going to show you that over there. So the pillar of Jibreel, we don't really have access to it. So keeping going on, this is a much bigger, broader map that shows the extension of the masjid. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is the first construction. It's only this size, very tiny. Then during the time of, after the Battle of Khaybar, after the 7th year Hijri, it goes through an extension, and that's what we're talking about. And it became this big, right? The next extension is the Khalifa of Umar radiallahu anhu. He moved it a little bit more to the western side, right? And moved it back also more toward the northern side. So that is another extension that happened. So these are the different extensions that have happened throughout time. You guys can study that. I'm not going to go too in depth with that. But what I do want to show is some of the different, like any doors that are there. The main one I'm worried about right here is Babu Salam, which is right here. You walk into Babu Salam, right? As soon as you walk into Babu Salam, you can see that at that particular time, the masjid wasn't this big. So as soon as you step foot in to see how big that is, that's this orange extension, right? And the extension, the orange extension, you can see it's extension by Umayyad Khalif, the Khalifa Walid, right? So that's how far the masjid got extended at that particular time. But this is the Babu Salam we're talking about. Right? And this is all outside here. So you'll walk in, you'll come in through here, and you walk and you walk and you walk and you walk. And then this is going to be your Salam area. And this is Babul Baqi, right? So you're going to walk out, after saying Salam, you're going to walk out of Babul Baqi. But then there's Babu Jibreel, which is here, and Babu Nisa, which is here. You're going to see those later on. I'm going to make reference to Babu Jibreel and Babu Nisa. So those are the 3 main doorways that I'm going to discuss. So keep that in mind on which side we're talking about. So here, this is Babu Jibreel. Right? This is Babu Jibreel. If you remember again, if you're facing Qibla, and again, Qibla is this way. Qibla is right here, this side. So Babu Salam is going to be, if you're facing Qibla, on your right. It's going to be over here. Babu Jibreel is on your left. The Rawda of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is going to be right approximately here. So Babu Jibreel is right behind you by the Jali. The dome is going to be right above the Jali, right around here. So Babu Jibreel is right here. Babu Nisa is right behind that. So this is pretty much what Babu Jibreel looks like. Right? This is what it's going to look like. So if you go in through this door, Qibla is going to be in this direction. So it means it's on the left wall. So you walk inside the door and Qibla is in this direction. Exactly how this guy's facing, he's facing Qibla. So you can walk in through this particular door and you're going to be right behind the hujra of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's Babu Jibreel. So what's about this door? You can see some reading here. Jibreel Alayhi Salam came to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam after the Battle of Ahzab, the Battle of Khandaq, also called the Battle of the Trench. and he talked to the Prophet ﷺ at the doorstep of Baba Jibreel. So right around here is where Jibreel ﷺ comes down. Nabi ﷺ has finished the battle of Khandaq. He has finished with the Ahzab. And this narration comes in. As mentioned in Bukhari, Aisha narrates anha, that after the battle of Ahzab, the Prophet ﷺ disarmed himself. He took off his armor, he took off his sword, and he went to take ghusl. In the meanwhile, Jibreel ﷺ comes on a pony and he starts speaking to the Prophet ﷺ near the doorstep of Baba Jibreel. Jibreel ﷺ said to the Prophet ﷺ, you have put away your arms, you have put away your armor, but we the angels, we're still in our battle uniform, we're still in our armor, that the war is still not over. So like the Nabi ﷺ, so you should come with us and attack the tribe of Banu Qurayza, because there was a pact with Banu Qurayza. Banu Qurayza was supposed to be on the side of the Muslims. We had a peace pact, but they broke that peace pact when they joined with the Ahzab. So Nabi Sallallahu didn't go after them until Jibreel Sallallahu didn't come, that we're business is not finished. We're going to go deal with the Banu Qurayza for what they have done. So Aisha Radhana, she adds, I was looking at Jibreel Sallallahu through the cracks in the door of my hut. Jibreel Sallallahu was covered with dust. They had participated in the battle also. They had been riding. She could see Jibreel Sallallahu in his human form. And this particular area right here is where that conversation was taking place. So when you go there in the Baba Jibreel, you can imagine, subhanallah, what kind of discussion must have taken place there. So you take tabarruk in that particular area. If you want to make a particular dua, keep in mind that particular incident there. On the opposite side of Babu Salam, you have Babul Baqi. And I pointed that one out to you earlier also. This is the place when you leave from making salam, you're going to leave out from this side. See, everybody's leaving from this side. This is Babul Baqi because it's facing Jannatul Baqi. So as soon as you're done finished saying your salam, you're going to walk out right over here from this particular gate. Not more significance than that, just to get your location and bearing straight. This is Babun Nisa. This is behind Baba Jibreel. Baba Jibreel is going to be over here somewhere, and Babun Nisa is in the back somewhere here. So what's so special about Babun Nisa? Here, if you do the reading along with me, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he expanded the masjid. Remember, I showed you the expansion of the masjid. 10 years later, after the 7th year Hijri expansion in the year 17 Hijri, Hazrat Umar expanded the masjid. And he built this particular door on the eastern wall, which is going to be on the left wall, right? Women used to enter the masjid from this door. They would offer their salah in the last rows, and thus they're able to avoid contact with men. Abu Dawood, rahimahullah, he mentions that Umar said, we should let the ladies use this door exclusively because they didn't want intermingling. This is important. Why? Because you have a lot of so-called liberal modern Muslims. They don't want any kind of a parda. They're like, there was no parda in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so forth and so forth. But all of the Sahaba unanimously, they, at the time of the Khilafat of Umar, they said, okay, women can still come to the masjid, but you must use this door. This is for women only. They're in the back of the saf. They didn't have parda because there wasn't really even a talk about parda, but still there was a distinction, there was a complete separate door. They tried their level best to create segregation and separation as much as possible. If somebody still makes the argument that there was no parda, be like, just read the hadith, my brother. Just read the hadith, how the women would come in, that the men would already come in first, then the ladies would come in last, and they would have their burqa, their abaya over their faces, completely covered, as the hadith of Aisha mentions, La yu'rafna, that the ladies could not be recognized, because they were so covered. And then as soon as namaz would be over, the ladies would leave before any man could turn around. So if any masjid of today wants to follow the real sunnah, be like, why don't you implement this on the ladies, that they all must come in complete burqa and niqab, and they must enter after the men and leave before the men can turn around. Then we could say that you are following the sunnah. Otherwise, if they're just allowing men and women to intermingle without any kind of a thing, then that's not in the spirit of the sunnah. But anyway, this is Bab Fatima that I was talking about earlier. This is that little doorway in the Jali that would go to the house of Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. If you remember where this is situated, let me take you back up to the previous diagram. This is going to be, where is that diagram? Oops, sorry. Right over here. Right over here. This is where the tahajjud area is going to be. Inshallah, when we get there, I'm going to show you where that particular door of tahajjud is. I don't have a picture for it right here, right now. But if you go a little bit more to the left into the Jali, the other doorway, that's where it's going to be. And this is where the house of Fatima radiallahu anha was. So let me go back up to that particular picture where Baba Fatima is there. This is going to be here in this particular area. When you go more to the right, the door of tahajjud is going to be more over here. Inshallah, I'll try to show you that, guys, when we're in the masjid. If you're there, I'll show you a particular marker that's there. Anyway, so if you read along this door on the eastern side of the Roda, which is the left side, marks the place behind where the house of Ali radiallahu anhu and his blessed wife Fatima radiallahu anha was located. So that's where that is. If you see that, then you're going to see what that's all about there, inshallah. Aside from that, that's pretty much it for the masjid. That's pretty much it for the ziyarat of the masjid. There's much more, but I can't keep going on. Inshallah, once we get there, I'll try to point out other things. If you want to know where some of the houses of the Sahaba were along the Qibla wall, like we can go through that and show you some of those. But this is pretty much the main ziyarat of the masjid itself and how things were. Aside from when we do the big ziyarah, inshallah, there's main areas here on this particular map. That is pretty much the general ziyarat that we will undergo when we go on our tour bus. So you see over here, this is Masjid Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? In this particular white marbled area, the tiled area, that's pretty much the size of whole of Madina Munawarrah in the time of Rasulullah. That's it. That was the whole city. From the Nurul Idad Dars lesson that we're talking about earlier, where Imam Malik wouldn't wear shoes, he wouldn't wear shoes in the city of Madina Munawarrah. Yani, for us nowadays, when I was telling you that if anybody wants to do that, it's all a fenced off area. If you want to kind of follow in that particular sunnah, you can take off your shoes at the fenced off area. Aside from that, when we look here, Jannatul Baqi is here. Jannatul Baqi is here. There's another masjid we're going to discuss later on, Masjid Ghamama. You can see that also. We're going to discuss about that. This is the Saqifa garden, right? Saqifa Banu Sa'ida. We're going to discuss about that. What's so important about that? You can go visit that. It's very close to the masjid. Masjid al-Fath is right over here. Why it's called Masjid al-Fath, we're going to talk about that. There's also 6 other masajid there called Masjid al-Sab'a, the 7 masajid. People go for ziyarat there. Masjid Qiblatain is over here. The 2 qiblas, right? So something happened over there. We're going to discuss about that. Masjid al-Quba is over here, the first masjid in Islam that Rasulullah helped build. This is Masjid al-Quba on this side. And then you have Masjid Jum'ah, something special about Masjid Jum'ah. You're going to see that over here. And you have Mount Uhud over here. Mount Uhud is over here on this side. This is Jabal al-Ir, which I'm going to talk about that maybe once we get to Madina Munawarrah. I don't want to mention anything here. We'll discuss about that later, inshallah. So the first thing we'll talk about here on this list is Masjid al-Fath. When we do the ziyarah, what's so special about Masjid al-Fath? So this is what the masjid looks like. It's a very tiny, small little masjid. Here, it seems that they were allowing people to go in. A couple of years ago, when we went for Umrah, they had blocked it off. They had security guards there. They wouldn't allow anybody to go in. Wallahu alam, what's going on? Sometimes if they feel like it, they let you go in. Sometimes if they don't, they just block it off. So Masjid al-Fath is where the Prophet ﷺ made dua during the Battle of Ahzab. All the Confederates, all the people ganged up to try to wipe out Islam, to wipe out Rasulullah ﷺ, and Rasulullah was here making dua in this particular area right here. And it's that place when the dua of Rasulullah ﷺ got accepted, the glad tidings, fath, of victory came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Here, his dua was readily accepted, that they'll have victory in Fatah. So that's why it's called Masjid al-Fatah, right? So that's one place we'll make the ziyarah. You can go there, you can visit there. Inshallah, hopefully it'll be open so we can actually go there, make dua there. If Rasulullah's du'as was accepted there, inshallah, hopefully our du'as will get accepted there too. The next thing that I was telling you about is Masjid Ghamama. Right? So this is Masjid al-Fath over here. Masjid Ghamama is right here. Right? We can see this thing. It's very close to the masjid. And this is what Masjid Ghamama looks like. The Ghamama means cloud. Right? So why do they call it Masjid Ghamama? Right? This is also known as Masjid Eid. So Ghamama is yani clouds. So why clouds? Because the Rasul go here to pray Salatul Istisqa. Yeah, when it's not raining. So Rasul would come out of the masjid, come to this particular place, which would also be their Eidgah. This is the place where they pray Eid. And then Rasul made Salatul Istisqa for the prayer for rain. Okay, some say also there's a qawl that this is the place where Rasulullah prayed the janazah namaz for Najashi. Najashi was the Ethiopian king, yani who accepted Islam, who was very kind to the Muslims. Yani when he passed away with shahada as a Muslim, then Rasulullah did Salatul Janaza al-Ghaib, praying even though the body was not present. And it was in this particular area, in this masjid vicinity. This masjid is closed, you cannot go inside, because it's so close to the Masjid Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Prayers are not offered there anymore, but inshallah we can go pass by there and visit there. The next is Masjid al-Jum'ah, like I was talking about prior. This is Masjid al-Jum'ah. This is what Masjid al-Jum'ah looks like. It's also nearby in the vicinities. Probably we'll drive by it. Normally they don't really go inside it, but we can decide if somebody wants to go inside. Yani it's still open, a person can access it. So what's so special about Masjid al-Jum'ah? So here the Prophet ﷺ left Quba, yeah, you know, Masjid al-Quba. So Rasulullah left there on a Friday to go to Madina Munawarrah. But approximately about a kilometer or so, maybe half a mile or so from Quba, there was a village there, the village of Banu Salim ibn Auf. And then the particular people of Banu Salim, they were begging Rasulullah that, oh Nabi of Allah, you stayed in the homes, yani of our sons in Quba for several days. And so they have this fadila and this virtue over us. Like, yani, you haven't really done anything with us. So reward us with something, give us some tabarruk. Because otherwise they'll pride themselves over us until the day of Qiyamah, that you stayed with them and you didn't stay with us. So the people of the tribe of Banu Salim were like imploring, beseeching Rasulullah, give us something. So then Nabi Sallallahu dismounted and prayed the first Jummah in their locality. So this is where the first kind of Jummah had taken place over there in their particular locality. So that's why we get the Masjid al-Jum'ah. Here the note says approximately 100 Muslims participated in that first Jummah Salat there. Amongst them were some of the family of Rasulullah, the tribe of Banu Najjar that were there, some of the people of Banu Amr who had escorted him from Quba. So they all participated, about 100 or so performed in this particular vicinity here, which this masjid is now. So after performing the Friday prayer, finishing Salatul Jummah, then Rasulullah mounted his famous she-camel called Qaswa, and they set off for the city of Madina Munawarrah. So that was on his journey from Quba to Medina, that Salatul Jummah was performed in Masjid al-Jum'ah. So the first masjid in Islam that Rasulullah had built, yani had laid the foundation for, is Masjid Quba. So it didn't look like this at all, but this is what Masjid Quba looks like today. That's the next masjid. So this is the first masjid built in Islam. Yani. So over here, you can see the points narrated by Abdullah bin Dinar. Ibn Umar had mentioned the Prophet used to go to the Masjid of Quba every Saturday, sometimes walking and sometimes riding. So the best is to try to go on a Saturday because that's when Rasulullah was there. I don't think we're going to have a time because we will not have a Saturday. But Yani, it's still good. We can go there any day, pray 2 rakats there. About this masjid, the Prophet ﷺ personally himself carried stones, carried rocks, carried sand for the building of the foundation of this particular masjid. Other Sahaba came to try to help him, and then some would take it and say, "You go get your own stone, Yani. I'm building this. You go get your own stone. This is a fadila and a virtue. Yani Rasulullah would like to build the old masjid with his own hands." Another virtue of Masjid al-Quba is one of the verses talk about the people of Quba. Here you can see in Surah Tawbah, verse 108, the masjid ussisa ala taqwa ahaqqa an taquma fihi. It is more befitting for you that you stand in that masjid versus Masjid al-Dirar. Masjid Dirar was the masjid where people were housed some weapons. They had kept the weapons cached there and so forth. And they wanted that Rasulullah to pray in that masjid so the people could see it as a masjid, but then Rasulullah never prayed in that masjid. So that's called Masjid al-Dirar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Rasulullah aware that the munafiqun have this plot and this plan, and that Allah advised Rasulullah not to pray in that masjid. And Allah said that that masjid that was built and founded upon taqwa and piety from day one, it's more befitting for you to pray the namaz there. So Rasul never prayed in Masjid al-Dirar. Next point, the hadith says that whoever makes wudu from home and then comes to Masjid Quba, offers 2 rakats there, will be rewarded the reward of an Umrah. Right? So that's the hadith that we're talking about. Keep in mind, the preference is that you make your wudu elsewhere, you come and pray there. That's what's going to give that virtue and that fadila. This is the picture of the Saqifa Banu Sa'ida that I was talking about earlier. What's so important about the Saqifa Banu Sa'ida? This is the place where Abu Bakr Siddiq, anhu, Hazrat Umar, and other Ansar and Muhajirin were there to talk about Khilafah. Right? That who's going to be the Khalifa after the demise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is that garden, this is that Saqifa of Banu Sa'ida. This is where the discussion had taken place that who's going to be the first Khalifa. It's about 200 meters west of the masjid. So west of the masjid, I mean on the right side of the masjid, right? Masjid Ghamama is also in that particular direction. It's just 200 meters away. This is where they had their mashwara, that who is going to be the next Khalifa after Rasulullah's wafat. Right now, presently, it's a library. So we can see that and make that ziyarah very close by. Next, Masjid Qiblatain, the 2 Qiblas. What's so special about this one? That when the order was given that the Qibla is going to change from Bayt al-Maqdis to Baytullah, so in this particular masjid, a group of Sahaba were praying their prayer. A particular Sahabi had left after having prayed towards Baytullah with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He saw them praying in the opposite direction, and then he had mentioned to them whilst they're in Dhuhr prayer, he made the thing that I have just come from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Qibla has been changed, and as soon as he gave that khabar, then the Imam and the Muqtadis, they changed in the Salah, like in the middle of the Dawran of that Salah, they pulled off like a 180, they changed their direction in the middle of prayer, and that's where that had happened, Masjid Qiblatain. Inshallah, we can go visit there as well. So that kind of brings us to an end and a conclusion of the different ziyarat. There's much more things to see, but these are generally the main ziyarat, inshallah, that people normally go to. We will see more than this too. I don't have enough time and I don't have all the things. Mount Uhud, inshallah, we're going to show you there when we go there. We'll have a brief dars on the archers. There's a small little hill where the archers were stationed. There's a big Mount Uhud that was there, the battle that had ensued, how it took place, where the archers were, and so forth. We're going to discuss that once we're there in Madina Munawarrah, inshallah. So any questions before we conclude? From anyone?
No questions, Mustafa. Just wanted to kind of let everyone know that Our hotel for Madina Munawarrah, it's like right by the gate number 6, which is also like right in front of Masjid Ghamama. Because you know Masjid Ghamama is right in front of the gate 6, and our hotel is also right there. Just wanted to put it out there.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
How
Yeah, welcome, Sam.
exactly does Sahaba like make a 180?
Basically, it's going to be require a lot of movement and walking in Salah. So, but the Jamaat is very small, right? Now the masjid is very big, but back in the day, you can imagine maybe there might be 7 people behind an imam, 10 people behind the imam, kind of like how we pray Zuhr nowadays. Because this is not Masjid Nabawi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? This is further and further away. Masjid Qiblatain, you can see, is like pretty much all the way up here, where Masjid Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is all the way over here. So the number of Muslims were smaller. You know, if Jummah is 100 people, you can imagine just a Zohar Salah, how many people would be there. So if there's about 7 people, 8 people, 10 people, the Imam just goes through them, walks in front of them, goes into the front, and they just turn their direction to a different direction. You know, and walking for Islah of the namaz doesn't break the namaz. So like if a person walks to fill a gap, if a person walks for any intention to perfect the namaz, it doesn't break the namaz. So they would just rearrange themselves. The muqtadis would just turn their face and the imam would walk in front of them or through them to get in front and lead the salah from there. So it's not that big of a deal. Any other questions?
I think Brother Mateen just
I have one more question.
Yep, go ahead.
This is in regards to like the first nazar on the Kaaba.
Yeah.
So like, you know how a lot of times like before we start the actual dua we like do alhamd and sana and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Like when we are talking about the first nazar and the first dua and stuff, like is that also like required, or like is that other part of what we should be doing?
Yeah. It's not like you have to do it instantaneously. When we're talking about the first nazar, it can take you 20 minutes because it's the very first time you're coming in contact with the Baytullah physically. So it's a very spiritual moment because normally for the Muslim, the Baytullah holds a very, very high position. But we always imagine it, or we see it on TV, or it's kind of distant. Now this is that moment when Allah has brought you face to face with His Baytullah, right? And this is kind of like a very special moment because it's not necessarily just the building, but it's like, dude, this is that place. You know, like I keep mentioning, you keep on reiterating, dude, this is a turn. You know, this is the real deal now. You have to bring it really realistic to you that I can't believe I'm here. It's like a dream. Like I've imagined this place. I've seen it on TV. We always face towards it. But here I am, subhanAllah, here I am. Like Allah's brought me here. And it's got so much history that all of the Anbiya of the past, yani, from Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam to Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, you know, Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, yani, they came here, they had their turn, and Allah brought them here, that this is it. This is life. This is what whole life is about. Every other masjid, every other place of worship is a replica of this, but this is the original. You know, in awla baytin wudiya linnas, the very first house placed for mankind. You know, this is the one. The angels built it. Yani, Adam alayhi salam rebuilt it. Ibrahim alayhi salam rebuilt it. You know, in the time of the Muslims in Islam, they rebuilt it. It's kind of like, subhanAllah, I'm here now. It's got so much history, so much history. You have to kind of take all that in mentally and be prepared for it, that this is not a normal area. When you see all the big huge buildings and the clock tower and all the fancy hotels, it's very easy to be swayed by that. But for us, we're like, dude, I don't give a damn about any of that stuff. It's just me and the Kaaba. You know, I just try to envision historically what it might have been like when all these buildings were gone. It was just a desert. Yani, now it's just me and this Kaaba and this building, which Allah had placed for this thing. It's my turn, really. And for your first time to put your nazar on that Kaaba, on the building, you need to kind of be taken aback. You know, to put everybody else out of sight, of mind, Cancel them out in your imagination and just kind of try to connect with Allah. Try to connect with the Kaabatullah. Just be like, Subhanallah, here I am. And it's not going to be easy if you're in a group of people. If there's 10, 20 of us there, you're not going to get into that zone. So try to find your own isolated, special little place and just go at it. Raise your hands, look at the Kaaba, start speaking to Allah, praise Allah, Alhamdulillah, Ya Allah, what a blessing you brought me here. I could have died and never come here my whole life, but here I am. You brought me here, Ya Allah, because we didn't go there. If we get there, it's not because of our money, it's not because of our power, it's not because of our anything. This is not our aqidah. Oh Allah, you brought me here, and here I am. So then you praise Allah, you glorify Allah. Alhamdulillah, Ya Allah, you brought me here. You send salawat upon Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then you just go at it. And you start making dua that, Ya Allah, just like you brought me here, you have favored me to bring me here. Oh Allah, I have some more favors to ask. I'm getting married. I need this. I need that. I want to have a life of taqwa. I want to have pious children. I want barakah for my parents. I want barakah for my family. Ya Allah, I want to represent this deen of Islam. I want to be a great alim. I want to spread this knowledge. I want X, Y, and Z. And you just kind of go at it right then and there. And inshallah, every du'as that you make there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts for you. So that's kind of the mindset that you want to get there. So that's what we mean by the first nazar. It's like a very, very special moment. You're there and there, and then you're like, dude, let me make the most of it. Understood?
Mufsab, same question. When we go there, right? Before, like when I went like a long time ago, like in 2001 and so, it was very easy to kind of not look at the Kaaba and walk like pretty much into the mataf and then look at it, right? But now it's like they make it such that once you enter and stuff, it's not like you can see the whole Kaaba, but you can if you were to kind of like put your heads like normally, like you still keep it down, but you can still sort of see it from your like peripheral vision or like a little bit of it and stuff until and then obviously you need to see like to not run into someone. So how do we kind of go about it where you don't kind of sort of.
I mean, yeah, I get it. Try your level best, obviously, not to look at it, but if a glimpse comes from the peripheral vision on the side, don't worry about that. It's not like, oh man, my chance is gone. But by and large, the rest of us who have been there will kind of guide you when you kind of go there for the first time, and just be like, just keep your gaze lowered, follow me, follow my footsteps, and I'm going to get you to an area. The rest of us who've been there, who have done this, it's still like a first time for us, but Yanni, we've been there, done that. So we should give a first chance to the other guys. That guys, we've been here before, just follow behind us, follow our footsteps. Yani, we're going to get you to an area where you can have your first nazar, and then we can do that as a favor and ihsan for them, to where they can have their special moment then and there too. We can do as a favor for them. But even if they catch a glimpse, it's not that big of a deal. You kind of need to soak in that moment, that here I am, oh Allah, you brought me here. And that's really the spirit, Yani, of the first nazar. Good. Any other questions? Hello?
That's all, Mufsab. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, inshallah. So let's kind of really put our mind into just shift it into a whole different mindset now. Now is the time to really get excited. If you haven't been there before, Yani, you'll probably have a sleepless night that I wonder what it's going to be like. Subhanallah, you need to hype it up. Don't try to not hype it up. Hype it up as much as you can. That Subhanallah, I wonder what this is going to be like. Yani, get into your zone right now between you and Allah, between you and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yani, you should be in your room. You should be hyped up. You should be excited. You should be scared. You should be like, I don't know what's going to happen. That's all good. You want all that stuff to happen because this is a very, very big thing. And you want to be super, super excited. But don't worry. You will be scared. It's good to be scared. But we're going to guide you through all of those things, inshallah, that you're going to try to maximize the most out of it. But don't try to tone it down. You want the excitement level to be really high because that's going to give you that energy. That's going to give you that that spirit kind of just heightened aware of alertness. It's going to stay in your mind, because who knows, this could be the first and last time you ever visit it, and you want that very special attachment to be there. So hype it up as much as you possibly can. Pretty good. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, we'll.
I just wanted to remind everyone that tomorrow, please be at the airport by 7:30 or before. I think the good plan would be to pray Maghrib. I mean, have your stuff packed up in the car, pray Maghrib and leave. So by 7:30, be there, because we have to check in as a group, and then get through the security and everything. The earlier we get there, the better.
We're talking about the Dulles Airport, right?
Yeah, Dallas Airport, and we can pray Isha inside near the terminal. They also have the prayer area over there, so we can easily do our Jamaat over there.
I didn't get my ticket.
Say it again?
Hello?
Yeah.
I didn't get my ticket.
I have all the records, and even if, let's say, if I'm not there for some reason, they can pull it from your passport, from your last name. It's no big deal. But inshallah, I'll send everybody's ticket number anyway in there with the names.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody make sure you bring enough money that we're going to change over there, and then suitcase kind of a thing like that. And just if you have any questions about that, you can ask Mona Faizan what I actually need and so forth. But everybody should understand what you need to bring along. Clothes, ihram, if you don't have it, we'll buy it there, inshallah. It's not to worry. So just bring your normal day-to-day clothing. Other things that you might need, I think you already passed it on the group also, inshallah.
For the phone charger, did they have like a normal outlet over there?
No, they're going to have like we can buy those at the store there, converter that kind of convert, but we have to buy those there.
Yeah, it depends on the hotel too. Like sometimes they would have something that you can charge directly. Otherwise, 4 or 5 riyals you can find the converter. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, like the USB thing with like the local outlet.
Yeah, and I do have a couple of those. I'll bring it, inshallah. But I won't have enough for everybody, obviously.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
सर्दी तो नहीं है ना फिर